Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of September 11, 2024. I'm your host, Sharifa Mohammed MGT.
I'm Colonel AC Oguntoye, an infantry officer. Russian progress. The Russian armed forces reported ongoing success in their special military operation, making advances across various regions including Kharkiv, Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. Reported to have inflicted significant losses on the Ukrainian military, including personnel, vehicles, artillery, and electronic warfare equipment.
Welcome to Frontline Updates podcast, where we provide updates and deep dives into ongoing military operations around the world. Today, we have a special guest, Colonel AC Oguntoye, an infantry officer and expert on ground operations. Colonel, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Colonel, let's dive right in. Could you give us a briefing on the progress of the Russian Armed Forces Special Military Operation as of September 11th, 2024?
The Russian armed forces have continued their special military operation across multiple fronts. Units from various groups have been actively engaged, and we've seen significant progress, particularly in regions like Kharkiv, Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. Each area is presenting unique challenges, but overall, Russian forces are claiming to have inflicted substantial losses on Ukrainian forces.
Let's break it down. Can you tell us what happened in the Kharkiv region?
In Kharkiv, Russian units from the north and west groups of forces carried out successful operations. Specifically, in the Liptsov and Vovchansk directions, they inflicted losses on Ukraine's 92nd Airborne Assault Brigade and the 36th Marine Brigade, resulting in the elimination of around 180 servicemen and destruction of an ammunition depot. Similarly, the West Group defeated Ukrainian units, destroying several vehicles, artillery systems, and key Ukrainian positions in places like Kolesnikovka and Vishnevo. Altogether, Ukrainian losses in this area amounted to 460 servicemen and a variety of armored vehicles and artillery units.
That's significant. How about in Donetsk? There have been ongoing engagements there as well.
Yes, Donetsk has been a key battleground. In the Donetsk People's Republic, Russian forces engaged the 72nd Mechanized and 79th Airborne Assault Brigades of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. 2 counterattacks were repelled, and up to 655 Ukrainian servicemen were reported lost. Additionally, a variety of artillery systems, some of them US and UK made, were destroyed, further weakening Ukrainian positions in the region.
So, the Ukrainian forces are facing losses across multiple brigades. What about operations in Luhansk?
In Luhansk, the West Group of Russian forces also made notable advancements. The 44th and 116th Mechanized Brigades, as well as the 1st National Guard Brigade of Ukraine, were targeted. Russian forces reported the destruction of tanks, artillery systems, and even multiple launch rocket systems. Ukrainian forces were heavily depleted, with up to 460 servicemen reportedly lost.
Now, moving to Zaporizhia and Kherson, what's the situation there?
In those regions, Russian forces have also inflicted heavy damage. In the Zaporizhia region, specifically around the settlement of Molotokmachka, as well as in the Kherson region around Tyajinka and Sadovo, Ukrainian forces faced significant setbacks. The 31st Mechanized Brigade and the 36th Marine Brigade were severely impacted, with around 110 servicemen lost in these operations. In addition, Russian forces destroyed a US-made multiple launch rocket system and other heavy artillery, including a British-made FH-70 howitzer.
It seems there were also some aerial engagements. Can you tell us more about the use of air defense and artillery?
Definitely. Russian air defense systems have been actively engaged in protecting their ground forces. Over the past day, 6 US-made ATACMS operational tactical missiles, 2 HIMARS rockets, and several unmanned aerial vehicles were shot down. This kind of air defense has been critical in neutralizing key threats. Operational tactical aviation and missile forces also struck over 144 Ukrainian targets, including forward command posts, ammunition depots, and concentrations of Ukrainian manpower and equipment.
It sounds like air power has played a big role, but there was also a naval incident in the Black Sea. What happened there?
Yes, that's a major development. Last night, the Ukrainian Main Intelligence Directorate attempted to seize a Russian jack-up drilling rig, the KRYM-2, in the Black Sea. They deployed 14 American-made Willard Sea Force boats, manned by Special Operations Forces of the Ukrainian Navy. Russian naval units, alongside ground personnel, responded and were able to sink 8 of these boats, killing up to 80 Ukrainian special forces. The remaining boats retreated, leaving their wounded in the water.
That's a substantial loss for Ukraine's special forces. Was there a strategic reason behind this operation?
It appears that this operation was timed to coincide with visits by high-ranking officials from the United States and Europe to Ukraine on the same day. 14 American Willard Sea Force boats were used for the operation, which were sent to the bottom, as were 80 landing party members. Unlike most of the media forays into Crimea, this one could have had a military purpose. It is quite possible that USBs could have been sent from here towards Sevastopol. But recently, their effectiveness has declined. Unmanned boats are quickly detected and intercepted, and drilling platforms are located between Odessa and Crimea, which allows the time to reach the waters of Sevastopol to be halved. But there is a problem. The recruits, not so much elite special forces, but those who are collected from the troops and line infantry brigades. Priority is given to the quantity of sorties, not their quality. Therefore, losing a company in the open sea is not such a pity, since it is always possible to catch more.
Finally, let's touch on the Kursk region. How have operations been unfolding there?
In the Kursk region, Russian forces repelled a Ukrainian counterattack near the village of Apanasovka and disrupted further attacks in other nearby villages. The Ukrainian armed forces lost around 30 servicemen, with 10 taken prisoner. In total, Ukrainian forces lost 2 tanks, an armored combat vehicle, and 2 points. The first point to consider is that the Russian armed forces have reserves that can encircle. It's one thing to clear out the Kursk region when the enemy is concentrating forces there, but a full-fledged offensive operation is another matter. The second point is the readiness of the Ukrainian armed forces to deploy the remaining reserves from the Sumy region to prevent the group in the Kursk region from being encircled. There is no complete clarity yet regarding either the first or the second point, but this does not mean that such an operation is impossible in principle. If this operation is ultimately carried out, the entire Kursk adventure will have been for nothing.
From your perspective, what's the broader strategic impact of these operations?
The broader impact is clear. Russian forces are maintaining offensive momentum while repelling Ukrainian counterattacks. The combination of air, naval, and ground superiority is leading to significant losses for the Ukrainian military. If these trends continue, it may further deteriorate the Ukrainian armed forces' capacity to launch effective counteroffensives in the near future.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to add about the broader situation?
There are reports that Russian troops have practically taken Ukrainsk. The Ukrainian armed forces have already moved some units west to the Tsukarino area and are preparing to dig in along new lines. There is practically no time for this, since after clearing Ukrainsk, the attack will shift to where the Ukrainian armed forces have just retreated.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
It has been a pleasure to be here and share these updates with your listeners. The Palestinian Civil Defense reported that at least 9 people, including women and children, were killed in an Israeli air attack on a school-turned-shelter in Nuseirat camp in the central Gaza Strip. Israeli forces in the occupied West Bank have arrested 30 Palestinians in Hebron, Jenin, Ramallah, and Bethlehem, according to the Palestinian Prisoners Society.